Welcome to Loving Out Loud, how to improve communication, sustain sexual passion, and create lasting love relationships. My name is Paula Smith, and I'm your summit host. Loving Out Loud is about loving fiercely and showing up in a different way to create a new reality, one that allows you to access your deepest truths and desires. No matter where you are in the love and life cycle, Loving Out Loud is a prescription for awakening your heart, your mind, and your body to a deeper consciousness and a more authentic and intentional self-expression. Welcome to Loving Out Loud. My guest today on Loving Out Loud, you're going to hear from me and my wife, Yael Bat Shimon. Yael Bat Shimon is a marriage therapist and relationship coach. She is also a graduate of Harvard University and a classically trained violinist who enjoys finding creative ways of working with couples and individuals on the issues that matter to them. Yael has a deep passion for helping lesbian couples stay, heal, grow, and mature in their relationships. Paula Smith is a transformational relationship coach, certified Imago relationship therapist, author, and your Loving Out Loud Summit host. As a transformational relationship coach, Paula will stand in the fire with you to help you step into vulnerability and openness and expand your capacity to fully express who you are. Together, Yael and Paula work with couples to create safety, healing, and new possibilities in their relationships. They recognize what it takes to grow and heal on an individual level and on the relational level. One of the ways Paula and Yael work with lesbians is to help them show up in a new way in their relationships by teaching them how to be both together and separate in a way that feels safe and honors both partners. Yael and Paula have been on the journey together for over 7 years. Here is our conversation. So I want to welcome Yael Bat Shimon to Loving Out Loud. Yael Bat Shimon is a relationship specialist, as you've heard, and she's also my wife. So a very special welcome, Yael.
Thank you so much, Paula. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about the work that we do together.
Yes, yeah, me too.
So Yaeli, and I call you Yaeli, and
Yes.
for those of you who are watching, she's Yael. So I know that you're very passionate about working with lesbian couples. You're very passionate about marriage itself.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about your passion in working with committed and married lesbian couples? What led you to this work?
Sure. So there are a couple of things. I would say one, there's as you and I have talked about a lot, there's a certain amount of healing that we can do as individuals, and that you and I have both done as individuals, in our own therapy and yoga practice, meditation practice, recovery. And I spent a long time doing that. I spent more than 20 years in individual therapy. But what I found is that when it like that prepared me to meet you. I was ready to meet you, and I was looking for you. But it didn't prepare me to actually be in relationship with you. With anybody, but I was with you. So my passion really comes from seeing these couples who have so much love for each other, just as we did and we continue to have so much love for each other, but somehow they're often stuck in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I even have the sense sometimes that people feel, the two partners feel like, it's good enough maybe. And I think there are even times with you in the beginning when I felt like, it's good enough, but I still had this feeling like there's more. There's more that we can have here,
Mm-hmm.
and there's more healing to be done too. There's a level of healing that we could do because we're in relationship with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love I love working with couples because I get to see underneath that pain and maybe some disappointment or the kind of settling, and sometimes, of course, real, out loud conflict. Beneath that, there's just this incredible love, and the two people are just magnificent. They're beautiful, and their love, once we can help them to kind of get free um, from that stuck place, the love just blossoms, and you can just see them transformed and sort of freed.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel passionate about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I know that about you, and I experienced that when we're working together. So, but it sounds like what you're talking about is something different. There are a lot of coaches out there who are working with lesbians, right? But it
Right.
sounds
Right.
like what you're doing is something different. That you actually work not with an individual partner, but you actually work with the couple,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's something I feel very strongly about, and you and I've talked about this a lot. That often we'll see two people who have come in, and they have, just like we had, done a lot of individual work, but and sometimes even one partner will say, well, she still hasn't worked through all her trauma, or well, she hasn't worked through her shame, or well, she needs to go and do more yoga, or she needs to go on a retreat or whatever. And there's a lot of back and forth about that. But I really believe, and that really comes from my experience with you. What I really believe is that they don't need to go do their individual work. Most likely, they've already done it. But also, it's not going to shift things in the relationship. And so I like to work with the relationship, with the couple. And sometimes that can be a very big shift for people, for a couple coming in. Sometimes one person really wants us to just fix the other person, and I know we do that sometimes. We want to be right, or we want to be the center, um, and so what my work is, and my work with you is really to work with the couple on looking at a different way of looking at the couplehood, that we're not two individuals. You and I are not just two individuals. We are when we go out into the world, but even then, I think we hold each other within. And so when we come together, we're not just two individuals. There's a kind of third being that we create, almost like a baby, or maybe like a garden that needs tending to and needs nurturing. And sometimes when we start to do that with a couple, just to shift from that, what can I get from this relationship? What can I get my partner to give me? And we shift from that to wow, what do we need to put into this relationship? What do we need to feed this baby or this garden, to make it grow? Once that shift is made, then, even though it can be a difficult shift at first, then there's that I see both people being freed of the kind of struggle which we often have and we often see. a struggle for power or struggle for dominance, struggle to be right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the thing that I know that we had to learn how to do was to make space for each other's difference. That it wasn't about killing off one of us, which we tried to do that in
Yeah,
our
we
struggle
did.
for the center. So it's really about expanding the emotional capacity between the two people to be able to include both people, and rather than that power struggle. So I know that that was a huge transition for us, and it's what we try to help other lesbian couples to do, because um, both partners are equally valid.
You're reminding me about our process and how we got here. Um, which, by the way, being here is a fabulous place to be. I feel like we've worked so hard to get here, but it's been fun at the
It's been a
same
lot of
time.
fun. I
It's
don't want
been a
people to
lot
get
of
that
fun.
get the impression that it's hard. We've had some fun in our
Yeah, I mean,
relationship.
even
Yeah.
even when even when we decided we need to go get some help, we got help in some really fun
Fun
places. We
place.
went to Kripalu and
You want to
right.
talk about it?
Yeah,
The dynamics or the two reactive styles?
yeah. So these two styles, and I'll use you and me as the examples. Um, so in case you couldn't tell this yet, um, Paula, you're more of the extrovert. So I'll just start by saying extrovert and introvert. I think it's a little more than that, and it's a little bit, not necessarily exactly what people mean when they say those things. So I'll talk a little bit more about the way I see those.
And maybe it could just be because I know other coaches have talked about it this way too, is energy. Because what we're talking about is energy.
Right, right, exactly. So there's a kind of energy. So when I feel threatened, when I'm scared, when I'm stressed out, when I'm anxious, my immediate reaction, to feel safe again in some way, to protect myself, is to withdraw. That's the movement I make. It's a withdrawal. I go inward.
You disappear.
I disappear. I can get so quiet you don't even know I'm there. And for you, yours is the opposite. When you feel stressed or afraid or anxious, then your energy comes out.
Right. Everybody has to know it. Right. Everybody knows.
Right. Everybody knows.
It's an outward expression of it.
Right.
And we see this not in all couples. So that's the energy that we see, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right. And it's a dynamic. It's like a dance.
It's a dance.
It's a dance, and it's and I always have to talk about this. The quiet one looks very innocent. The quiet one looks like there's this angry monster coming, and the poor little quiet one is getting attacked, and so of course they're going to withdraw, right? And so this is something I really feel passionate about, because it took me a long time to really get this, and it took a lot of soul searching and a lot of honesty and a lot of humility for me. Like it was much easier just because as a child, I was abused, as so many of us were, so many of us women were. I was abused as a child. And so my primary experience of my primary wounding, the place where I was hurt the most, was in having my boundaries violated and feeling invaded. And when that happened for me, I think one of the stances I took, just in general in the world, was as somewhat as a victim, or like somebody that things happen to. Um, and I had to really start looking at that. And I had to start looking at that with you too, because it was easy for me to just blame you and say, well, yeah, I would show up if you would just stop yelling, because how am I supposed to, talk when you're yelling at me, right? And so, and I see that a lot. I see that a lot, different way, different degrees. Um, that it can look like the quiet person, the more introverted person, can look like they don't have a part in it. That this is something that's happening to them, as I thought it was to me. Um, and again, I had to do a lot of soul searching and really look at what am I doing? Like, this is when I started to understand that this is a dance, this is a dynamic between us, and that I have a part in it. I started to notice that, and also when we started having conversations about it, when we had dialogues, when we made space for each other and I got to really hear about what was going on for you, which I'll ask you about in a second. That I started to understand that part of the reason that I withdrew is I didn't want conflict. I was very, very afraid of the conflict. I wanted things to be calm. And by things, like, I wanted to feel comfortable. And by things, wanting things to be calm, what I really mean is I wanted you to be calm. I wanted you to just stop. I wanted you to shut up because you were making me uncomfortable with the way you expressed your feelings. And what I came to understand is that was a profound wounding to you the way you experienced it, when I would withdraw or like try to talk to you like let's be rational about this, or cry, that what I was really doing was I was trying to control the situation by trying to control you. I was trying to shut you down. And when I started to hear from you that what was happening at those times was that you felt like I was trying to wipe you out, basically, like I was trying to silence you, and that touched on a very deep childhood wound for you, that really started to shift things for me.
My wounding was neglect and abuse, which led me to needing to be out there and make myself known, make myself be seen and heard because of the neglect piece.
Right.
So at any sight of feeling neglected, any perception of not being seen and heard and validated, I'm going to make some noise.
Right.
Hey, wait a minute. And if I perceive, because we're our energy, I could feel your energy.
Yeah.
If your energy was low, or if I felt like you were disconnected from me, I'm going to make even more noise.
Right.
Because what I'm wanting is for you to come out. So the problem with that was the way that I wanted you to come out. And so it wasn't until I realized, as someone who's very expressive, very extroverted, very out there, thrive on, contact and connection, I realized my learning, and it was profound for me, was that I needed to make space for you. If I wanted you to come out, I not only needed to make space, but I needed to make it safe for you to come out. And this is what I know I tell even all the couples that I work with, and I work with many, many, many couples. If you want something from your partner, you have to make sure that they're safe. It's not like, oh, I'm in this relationship, I'm in this marriage, and suddenly because I'm an adult, I have no needs. And I think people get confused about that.
Right.
You still have needs.
Right.
You still have hurts. You still have unfulfilled longing.
Right.
Just because we are in these adult bodies and we have great jobs and, we have a standing in community. What I see and what we see is that a lot of people are still operating from a place of hurt and woundedness and pain. And we believe that your partner, the person that you're with, is the perfect person to help you to get what you need in your marriage. And that's why marriage and commitment is so important, because that's the reason you do the work. And a lot of people, they do the work in order to see if they're going to be together, but the commitment is the reason you do the work. And the commitment is the reason that I've done the work with you.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's what's so beautiful about a marriage or committed relationship, is that it's like we get a second chance, or maybe a 10th chance, or whatever it is. But this is like a real chance that now, you're my family. You're my family, and we're going to stay that way. But that brings up all the unfinished stuff from my childhood and from your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a chance with each other
Right.
to actually heal that. Yeah, and so I find that it's, as I was saying, it's not just, I may be doing the healing in our relationship, but it's the healing that I need to do in all parts of my life, professionally and personally, with family members, with friends. It's a part of me that needs to be healed, and so that's and that I have a desire to stretch, and desire to stretch out of my comfort zone, because of my love for you, and to benefit our relationship.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what we do with couples, is that we help them to stretch out of the comfort zone to meet their partner's needs. We empower each partner to meet the needs not only of each other, but whatever the needs are of the relationship. So the relationship becomes a living thing. It's not just this thing, well, we are in this relationship. And I hear people say, we're in a relationship. But this relationship is alive, and it's as alive and it's as big and exciting as the two people in it make it.
Mm-hmm. And I think there are also some really key questions that we teach couples to ask each other. And I know one of the most powerful questions that you've asked me, and it is what do you need right now? And what do you need right now? And what do you need from me right now? Mm-hmm. Those are incredibly loving questions.
Yeah.
I don't always know the answer, but just being asked the question is like it's an incredible gift.
Yeah. And that's a process, because couples aren't used to that question.
Yeah.
And it comes out of a place where I'm not supposed to have needs, because a lot of us as children, it wasn't okay to need. And when we did need something, and when we did ask for something, chances are we didn't get it. So we buried it. So that's a whole process in really educating couples to be able to know that that's okay, and know that you can express it, and know that you may or may not get it. But what's important is that you ask, and it becomes an important discovery process.
Yeah.
You were just talking earlier, like, you don't make assumptions. A lot of couples come in and, well, I know her. I know what she's thinking. That can be a catch-22, because it really keeps you in a box. It keeps you from ever really thinking that your partner may be changing.
Right.
She may have been that way last week. And I know this about you. I mean, I know that, I think I know you. I mean, fundamentally, I know your values. I know what you stand for. But I don't ever make assumptions that I just know you.
Right.
Because I could be wrong. because you may have changed and we hadn't talked about it. So the whole questions of needs and asking is a whole process of discovery, discovering each other.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that we encourage. It's like one of the fundamental ingredients of a safe and very connected relationship, and of building that. The way we help couples build that is through a lot of curiosity. Because when we become curious about why our partner does something or why we do something, it really shifts things.
Right.
It makes us start to even imagine what it might be like for them.
Right.
A curiosity kind of opens things up, and
Right.
it unlocks us from this place of like, well, I think she's just wrong, and she's gonna hurt me, and she's gonna whatever, or she's trying to blame me, and I think she thinks this. The curiosity, just, it's like this lubrication or something. It frees things up, and we get to see each other differently, and just remember that as much as we love each other, as much, as long as we've been together, even couples who've, you've worked with couples who've been together for 40, 50 years. And it doesn't matter. There's some, we're always changing, and so there's some point at which we have to look at each other anew, like we've just met, and when we do that, and when I see couples do that, it's beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
It's just so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. So Yael, I mean, we've talked about a lot. What would you really like lesbian couples, committed couples, married couples, what would you like to leave them with? Any final thoughts? And then we can talk about your free gift, our free gift.
Yeah. I feel so strongly that there's no need to settle. There's no need to be stuck, or to feel like, things are good enough. Sometimes you have that feeling inside, you have that feeling like, things are good, but they're just, there's something not quite right. That you're probably right. There is something not quite right, and it may not be about your partner. It may not be about you. It may be about your relationship, and tending to it in this different way that we've talked about tending to it as if it were the baby that you're giving birth to, and that it deserves your attention, and you deserve to just be such. I mean, I can't even tell you. I feel like I am just such a different person from Paula when you and I met. I feel like I'm such a different person, and I want that for everyone. I want everyone to get to feel the transformative power of really being connected, and it's fun, it's exciting, it's terrifying. I've had to stretch, in ways I'm doing things I never thought I'd be able to do, and it's not because of you, and it's not because of me. It's because of our relationship. It's because of the ways that we've nurtured it and tended to it. My thing that I like, just a more withdrawing person to hear. So I know there are a lot of us. We're not, our particular society is not set up well for us. It tends to favor those who are louder and put themselves out there more. So I empathize with that a lot. And I also know that we have our place in the world, and that our partners need us. There's something in our partners that needs to be healed, and we hold the key to that. And so that's what I want to leave you with.
Thank you. So Yael, I know that we're offering a free gift. So, can you tell our listening and watching audience a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so our free gift is a discovery session, which will last about 30 minutes. It can be either by Skype or by phone. We really prefer it to be by Skype if that's possible for you, because we really like to get to see both of you and for you both to get to see us. And it's really just a chance for us to really get to know you a little bit better, to get to know your relationship better, and for you to get to have an experience of us. We really look forward. All you have to do is sign up at the link provided here.
Yeah. And they'll get to know Niles, who's in the background.
Right, and they get to know Niles, who's our little green cheek conure who likes to chime in.
Yeah. He's really loving out loud.
He is loving out
He's
loud.
loving out loud
Yeah.
24/7. So, yeah, thank you so much for being
You're
on the
very
summit.
welcome.
Loving out loud with us today and loving out loud with Yael and Paula. Thanks so much. I'm glad you had the time to do this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Paula.